Been a funny old weekend. It's been such a funny weekend that I've actually got pizza for my Sunday evening meal because I didn't get stuff out of the freezer and got up early and it's all But I just wanted to show you this. A month ago, this was an evergreen hedge made up of that stuff. And that's what you could see right through to the conifer tree. And there were some twigs, some bare twigs hanging around. Look at it now. That's the wisteria that was on this side, that is the type of wisteria that blooms after the leaves come out, totally different to the one the other side of the garden. Look at the amount of greenery that has appeared. It's absolutely stunning. And these are gorgeous greens. And if you look, what was bare twigs just hanging out is suddenly bushy and green, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Follow it through. It goes right up into that conifer, almost to the top. And eventually, all of that greenery is going to have wisteria blooms. I think we're in for a bit of a spectacle. There are places, let's see if I can use the zoom. Press the button the right way, it might actually work. If you look, so I can't see what I'm doing now, I've zoomed in. Hang on, I'll have to come out again and come back in. I'm not very good with the zoom because I use it so infrequently. Well, what I'm trying to do is that little bit hanging out there, I think it is, it's the bit that hangs out the farthest. So if I zoom in on that, you must be able to see what I'm talking about. That little bit there has got buds on. There's just first signs of the blooms to come on this area of green. Now, virtually all of the rest of this green has got no signs of buds yet. It's just greenery on what was bare sticks no more than a few weeks ago. That is a phenomenal amount of growth, especially bearing in mind we have had no rain to help that. So that must have deep roots. Wherever the hell the roots are, I don't know. Buried in the hedge somewhere, I suppose. But yeah, lit up in the sunshine, that is a beautiful green. So much of it. And at some point, I'm going to have to cut that back. And this is the conundrum that I've got. Obviously, this is last year's growth that we're looking bursting into greenery now, which will then bloom. So if I prune that back hard in the spring, I've just cut off all this year's blooms, haven't I? So this must be the type of wisteria that you prune back hard after it's bloomed, so that it's got time in the rest of the season to produce loads of new growth, my mouth won't work, for the blooms the following year. I think. I'm going to have to look it up. But such a different plant. They're both wisterias, but that one has only just got a few buds in places and masses of green, as opposed to over there, if I can zoom in. That's the one that produces its buds before the leaves have even come out. That one's currently in full bloom all along that fence. And I'm going to train that because I'd rather look at that rather than a bare fence. So I'm going to train shoots along that fence so that that fence becomes hidden by that. And I think that'll be pretty good. This is an amazing. I don't come in this. This is the room that Hannah uses when she comes. I don't come in here. This is it's like an out of bounds room, really. I have no need to be in here ever. And when Hannah comes up to stay, like next weekend, she's in here. I'm not. So I don't get this view very often. Aerial view of the garden. Now I'm going to get some staging sorted out for the bonsai. I'm going to get this sorted so that my bonsai are more important than sat on a chair and sat on you know, some shelves that used to be for orchids and sat on the bench. You know, I need to get this sorted. I need to, if I'm going to do bonsai, then I need to have them in an area where they're displayed nicely. They then become part of the garden, if you see what I mean. So, and the other thing I've got to do is I've got to get rid of them weeds. That's got to go, and that's going to have to be a chemical jobby, I'm afraid. You can get a chemical path clear, I think it's called, that you sort of water it in with your watering can, and it kills whatever's there. Everything is totally indiscriminate. It kills whatever's there and stops anything else germinating for quite a few months. So any lurking seeds that are in there don't get a chance to germinate. So otherwise it's just going to look, it's just not going to look right. Those gravel beds with those pathways need to be clean to work. So I shall get that organised eventually. I used to use that stuff around the other place for the gravel beds. It works pretty good. So we'll have a go at that. And then we'll get some staging sorted out. I'm hoping that the guy next door who works on the buildings, I don't know in what form, but he works on the buildings, can get me some planks. And then I'm going to get some concrete blocks. I can put the planks across and the bonsai can sit on the planks. The planks go up on scaffolding and people walk on them. So I think they'll be strong enough to hold a few bonsai trees. And hopefully he can get me some. Otherwise I'll have to make something. But I'm determined to get some sort of staging sorted for the bonsai so that they're not just scattered around. I'm not doing them justice, basically. Especially as this coming week, no days mentioned, but one day this week we will be up. Well, it won't be a day, it'll be the middle of the flipping night. We will go and collect those two trees that I'm after. The twin trunk pine and the nice looking trunk with a tree on the top that we've been looking at for, well, actually some considerable time. And having just gone to a bonsai expo, sorry, most of the pines around, apart from the stupidly expensive stuff, were Scots pines, and that's what I'm after. So it seems that people are twigging that the cost of the imported pines, like Japanese white pine and black pines, things like that, are just so exorbitantly priced that you're better off going for your native pine, which is your Scots pine in this country. They're all over the flipping place. And in some places they are so rampant that they get pulled out every few years because they would turn back into a forest so quickly that they have to be stopped from doing that to maintain the habitat. So yeah, I think we'll get those two collected pines in, not tomorrow, I've had a busy weekend, but the day after perhaps, or the day after that. Sometime this week I'll get up early and go and get it done. And then we'll have some bonsai videos to follow, because obviously those trees have got to be potted up and the waste has got to be taken off. At this time of year they are bursting into life. That's why I want them at this time of year. But when they are bursting into life, what you don't want is them pushing into energy into branches that you're not going to keep. So the idea is to collect them, get them back here, get them potted up and cut off what I don't want. I probably won't shape them this year. I'll probably just hopefully get them to establish a good root system, and then next year get them into a bonsai pot so that the roots can sort of sort themselves out and start to train them. You know, you're looking at a 4 or 5 year project just to get something that looks reasonable. And it's all good fun with this bonsai stuff. But I can't get over how the amount of greenery that's come out of those bare sticks in the last week or two is just ridiculous. Anyway, this is my spare bedroom view of the garden. Late in the evening, I mean it's My pizza's cooking, so it's tea time. And obviously a lot of it is in the shadow at the moment, so it's just this bit is lit up by the sun, and I thought it was appealing enough to do a video. See you next time. Thanks for dropping by.